What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you. Today is Wednesday, April 26, 2023. We're talking NBA Playoff Player Props over on Prize Picks. As always, I hope this video finds you all doing well and in good spirits. We'll kick things off with a quick recap over yesterday's plays, and then we're jumping right into the Prize Picks board. Only injury news we got to make sure we're on point with is the status of De'Aaron Fox. Looks like he's probable to play with that fractured finger, but could be a little limited. We'll talk about that a little later in the video. So if you like the way that sounds, then I encourage you to stick around, drop a like, drop a sub, click the notification icon to get notified of all upcoming content and videos from me and this channel. And without further delay, let's jump into those plays from yesterday. All right, a 2-1 day yesterday, not bad. We were so close to a 3-0 sweep. Let's talk about these plays real quick. So starting off with our Bogdanovic over 16.5 points. I was going back and forth with someone in the comment section, a year in the life of anxiety. I can't remember the entire name, but you know who you are. We were going back and forth with the commentary there over Bogdan needing to step it up because he only had 5 points at the end of the first half, and he got involved more in the second half and finished with well over 16 points. But we talked about yesterday in terms of leveraging his entire role, so liking his PRA, liking his fantasy points. If you decided to go that route, then you were paid very well because he went over everything. He went over points, he went over PRA, he went over fantasy. Crushed it. I think the only thing he didn't really hit was his first half PRA or first half fantasy. I know a few people were on that one. I was not. So if you were able to get more than one prop in there for Bogdanovic, good on you. Our second prop of the day was Rudy Gobert over 27.5 PRA. Crushed this line. Man, just consistency from this guy in the playoffs versus Denver, despite the tough matchup versus Jokic. I mean, Jokic had a great game yesterday, but Rudy Gobert was making it real tough for him in the paint. We saw Jokic take more threes yesterday because Gobert is being a beast in the paint, grabbing boards, scoring points, and we talked about the volleyball effect of centers, missing their own shot, grabbing it, missing it, grabbing it. We saw a little bit of that with Rudy Gobert yesterday, so he did more than enough to get us over that line. And then our last play of the night, Ivica Zubac, under 18.5 PRA. Man, this was bad. He finished the game with well over that. I think he finished with like 30 PRA. I stopped counting, to be honest with you. And once that game was well out of hand, I turned it off and started settling in for the night. But he crushed it. Went into the half. I think he was at 14 points and rebounds going into the half, and then came out and scored a few buckets, grabbed a few boards, and it was over. So that one was, on my end, I feel like it was still a good call because, based off the averages and based off his game flow in the series, he wasn't really getting a lot of run in the second half. Ty Lue decided to play him a little bit more in the third quarter, and that was really the biggest difference. So 2-1 on the day. Today we're looking to go 3-0, possibly 4-0. I have a prop on the board. We'll have a prop for you that's not yet on the board. Hopefully it gets put on the board. But aside from that one, I have 3 player props that I like. Looking to go 3-0. Let's transition on over to the Prizepicks board, and we'll talk about them. All right, so our first player prop on the board is going to be a points prop, a full game points prop, and I want to talk about 15.5 points for Brook Lopez. I like the over on this one. Let's head on over to props.cash. I'll tell you why. All right, checking out Brook Lopez's last 10 games, really focusing on the playoffs. It's just kind of been a mixed bag for Brook Lopez. 2 games over, 2 games under now. Man, 36 points in the last game. I would not expect 30 points today, but we only need 16. So a couple of things that I saw from last game that made me feel really good about the over on this one. Number one, everything is better with Giannis. So he makes that offense better. He makes the team better, obviously. But what he did for Brook Lopez, especially in that pick and roll, was so fun to watch. It was just like an art, like a work of art, as he and Giannis kind of worked the paint, and there was really no answer for it. And we saw him take a few more shots, last game with Giannis in the lineup. So scrolling down here, we can see that this is his highest field goal volume in the series, 23 shot attempts versus the 17 that he took the first game that they were out without Giannis. And I think that's not a coincidence. That's because or excuse me, that's not a a fluke. I think that's it. That is because Giannis is in the game, and Giannis creates so much spacing on the floor, and he sets up his teammates very well, especially Brook Lopez in that last game. Now, I expect Miami to make adjustments, but I think 7 threes for Brook Lopez, I think that's a real thing, and I think we can see another game where he's taking 5+ 3-point attempts. And if he continues to get looks in the paint where he's just too big, he's too strong for Bam Adebayo or Highsmith or whoever they want to roll out there, he's going to continue to get those easy looks at the rim. I just like this 15.5-point prop for Brook Lopez. I think this is something that could get bumped at some point during the day as more and more people see it and start hammering the over. So for now, while we can, give me the over 15.5 points for Brook Lopez. All right, for our second prop on the day, we want to head on over to the Cleveland Cavaliers New York Knicks game. And I want to talk about Donovan Mitchell. And I actually want to go with his turnover prop and take a look at this one. 2.5 right now. I like the over on this one. Let's head on over to props.cash and I'll tell you why. All right, so in this series versus the Knicks, Donovan Mitchell is basically giving you, four turnovers a game. 6 turnovers the last 2 games really inflate the averages here. Do we see 6 turnovers from him every game moving forward if they advance? I don't think so, but I think 3 turnovers for him is pretty fair. I mean, looking at his full season stats, we can see that he's basically giving you 3 turnovers during the regular season per game, 53% rate to go over this. Versus New York specifically this season, we see that he has turned the ball over a little over 3 times per game. In some of these games, you see 4, 6, minimum of 2. So if we're just looking at these stats, it makes us feel really good. But now we have to factor in the circumstances here. Cleveland's back is against the wall. They're back at home. They really need to win this game. And I can see Donovan Mitchell trying to take this game over, be super aggressive today. When he's super aggressive, when the ball's in his hands, he's just going to turn it over. And any superstar who has the ball in their hands, any player who has the ball in their hands for a great amount of time during the game, it just increases their odds of committing a turnover. So something we talked about a lot during the regular season, targeting players who have high usage rate. If we get a turnover prop for them, I like, taking the over on those. And so we have one right here with Donovan Mitchell. I wish him the best. I'm not praying for him to have a terrible game, but we do want 3 turnovers from him today. It's possible for him to get 3 turnovers and score 30 points. So give me the over. 2.5 turnovers today for Donovan Mitchell as our play number 2. All right, and for our third play on the board, let's talk about Jalen Brunson's fantasy points, currently at 38.5. I like the over on this one. I got to take the over on this one. He's our thumbnail. He's on fire. Let's head on over to props.cash. We'll break this one down. All right, let's look at Jalen Brunson's playoff game log here. One out of the last 4 games he's gone over this in this series. Now, we talked about this being a crucial game for the Cavs. Backs are against the wall. Now, on the other side, this is a crucial game for the Knicks. This is their chance to close out this series and send Cleveland home, or not send them. They're already at home in this game, but make them stay home and and not advance. And so when I see that situation unfolding, and I look at Jalen Brunson's productivity in this series, and we see his minutes increasing throughout this series. He played 43 minutes in that last game. His production also, increased in that last game. I think this is a game where we see Jalen Brunson do Jalen Brunson things. We saw this happen in the playoffs last year with Dallas. He's electrifying in the playoffs. We're seeing it once again. This is not a Jeremy Lin flash in the pan 2-week, fad here. This is a real thing that's happening. And when this guy gets cooking, he's very difficult to stop or slow down. Now, looking at his minutes played, in this series, we can see that he's averaging 36.7. Now, do we expect 43 minutes from him again in this series or in this game? I say, yeah. I think Tom Thibodeau leaves his starters on the floor for as long as it takes for them to close this game out. So if we want to say, hey, listen, I don't know if he's going to play 40 minutes. That's a lot of time. Let's say he gives you 36 minutes. 36 minutes played minimum for Jalen Brunson on the season. He's gone over this 67% of the time, averaging 38.4 PRA in those games. This is a very important game for the Knicks. I think this is his team, at least it is in the playoffs. Randall's nowhere to be found. Barrett's doing a nice job of being the Robin to Brunson's Batman, but I think this game has Brunson's fingerprints all over it. I think he does a lot in this game to close this series out, help the Knicks close this series out. A lot of good things to like here. Also, when we talk about fantasy points, we're not just talking about PRA. I understand that. So let's look at his turnovers or steals and blocks. In those games where he plays 36 minutes plus, he's averaging 1.2 steals and blocks. But against Cleveland during the regular season, he's giving you 2, which is good to know because his turnovers also are a factor in his fantasy points. 2.3 turnovers in the regular season per game when playing 36 plus minutes, but 2.8 versus Cleveland. Now that equals minus 3 points. But if Jalen Brunson is going to give you 1.2 steals and blocks, that's 3.6 points. So 3.6 minus the, what was it, the 3. So he's still plus on that one. So the turnovers aren't really hurting him because he's able to compensate that with a steal or a block. So that's good to know. And then from there, it's just scoring points, grabbing boards, dishing out assists. And I think he can do enough of those to go over this line. 38.5 for Jalen Brunson tonight. I like the over on this one. All right, and I said that I had a 4th play for you that wasn't on the board. And I want to talk about Malik Monk, who obviously is not on the board. Probably not going to see him, Fox. The only Kings that are on the board right now are Sabonis, or Kinks. No, not Kings. Kings. Sabonis, Harrison Barnes, and Kevin Hoyta, Keegan Murray. So we're waiting on Monk. Now, let's talk about Malik Monk really quick because his splits at home versus away are night and day. So during the season, 2 games at home versus 2 games on the road, Malik Monk is averaging 25 points per game at home on 14 shot attempts. Compare that to his averages on the road, where he's actually terrible. I mean, in this series, if you just compare the numbers, 10 points per game on 11.5 field goals attempted, versus Golden State on the road. Now, again, Fox is probable to play in this game, but I got to question how effective he's going to be with a fractured finger. We see Ja Morant being limited, his play not being, up to the standard that we're used to seeing it. Tyler Hero's been, ruled out for the rest of the series with that broken hand. It's very difficult to be an effective ball handler, scorer when, you have a fractured finger. We heard that, we heard Jaylen Brown's hand giving him problems and how it was hard for him to grip the ball and all these things. That's a real thing. And if, we think that Fox is going to be limited in any way, then we could possibly see more plays drawn up for Malik Monk and possibly let him cook a little bit more in this game. But once this prop gets released, props.cash has this at 15.5. And I think we take the over on this one. So that's just a bonus pick should that get released on the board. I like the over. 15.5 points for Malik Monk. All right, so let's quickly recap these 3 plays that we have on the board. We got Brook Lopez over his 15.5 points, Donovan Mitchell over 2.5 turnovers, and Jalen Brunson today over 38.5 points. And as our bonus play, we're looking out for that Malik Monk points prop, 15.5. If that drops on the board, we're taking the over on that one today versus Golden State. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for stopping by, checking this video out. Please drop a comment below letting me know who you have your eyes on today over on Prizepicks. Also, let me know what you think about these 3 player props that we talked about in today's video. And as always, thank you all so much for the continued support, the likes, the subs, all the comments. It truly helps this channel get a bit bigger every single day as we have now gone over 4,000 subs and now push our way towards 5,000 subscribers on this channel. Thank you all so very much. Best of luck to you all today. If you tail any of these plays, drop a comment below. Let me know as well. And until tomorrow's NBA Playoff Player Prop Prize Picks video, Chavez is